video, I'm going to break down the exact hot offer formula. In my previous video, I spoke about hot offers and what actually makes an offer very attractive. And this is high value, has a specific outcome and transformation for the person. So today I'm going to go one step deeper and I'm going to help you to structure an irresistible offer for your coaching or info clients. The first step to an irresistible hot offer is for the offer to solve a very specific problem. A very specific problem for one specific type of client. And the bigger the problem, the bigger the solution and the bigger the results for you. So once you manage to find that problem, you are able to structure something that solves that pain point for your ideal client. Then, the second P of a hot offer, an irresistible offer, is to have a promise. So once people talk to you, they want a guarantee that your solution is going to work for them. So they want you to promise that your service is going to work for them. And because they may be pre-sold to you or your idea or solution because they saw it working to others, but you need to make sure that your promise is going to work for them. So they want you to state clearly and guarantee that your solution is the right solution for their problem, their very specific problem, because they don't care if that problem belongs to others. They want to solve it for themselves. I hope that makes sense. And then, in order for your offer to be very, very clear, you will need to have a very specific process of how you're going to actually help that person move forward. This will be your signature method or a program, the way that you have created and the way that you can help that ideal client of yours. If you're a fitness coach, this can be your signature weight loss program, or if you're a business coach, this can be your signature growth marketing program for people to get clients or leads. So people care for your process. Now, this part of the offer needs to be clear and simple. So do not overcomplicate things, because at the end of the day, you know your work, and the person that you're talking to, maybe they do not know it exactly how you're going to do it, and maybe they don't really care how you do it. For example, I have a coaching business and I help coaches on the business side. So here, this part of the process may be a bit may be relevant for me to explain in more detail because they have a certain interest of learning that process. But in many cases, depending on the problem that you're solving and your ideal client, maybe you do not really need to go in that much detail, but provide all the information that the person needs or the details in order to understand how this is going to work. Because the more clear the offer is, the easier is for the person to actually buy from you. And here in this part, I get a lot of questions from my clients. They ask me, Sofia, one prospect asked me to send a breakdown of the process of how we're going to do it and what I'm going to say in these meetings, like, shall I share it? Yes, there's nothing wrong for you sharing your process. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be hiding the way that you're working with clients, but make sure that you accompany this email or document, Notion page with a meeting or a Loom video so that you can explain things, because things tend to be very, very abstract. And then we're moving to the fourth P, and very important one, proof. Always utilize testimonials and case studies, of course, in your pages, on your Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, have proof, but utilize this during your sales calls as well. Because the moment you utilize proof, that proof of a third person, a success story, client case, becomes even stronger than you having that transformation. Because people oftentimes, they don't only want to see that what you offer worked to you or your business, or your info business or type of business that you have, they want to see that it worked for someone else. So proof becomes very, very important. And proof makes your promise easier to fulfill, because now you are able to showcase that. If you're on the earliest stages of your journey, or if you're launching an offer that you don't have exactly the proof of that specific offer or case, utilize related proof, because you need to start from somewhere. So don't get overwhelmed if you don't have that exact proof for that case, but make sure that you find ways to prove your worth as a consultant or coach, because this is going to get you closer to your sale. And then the last part of the irresistible offer is price. And I'm going to give you a bonus one. It's not just price. It is price psychology. Because you see that the human brain works in very, very interesting ways. It is not only about the amount that you're going to say, it's about the positioning, and psychology ties also to the feelings that this is going to create to your prospect. And here's when it becomes interesting. Why sometimes a lower ticket offer is more hard to sell than a higher ticket, more expensive offer? Why is this client more committed than this client? It's a funny thing to consider that people sometimes, it is easier for them to invest 5K than investing 1K. Here comes price psychology into play, and I'm going to show you a very, very interesting way to position your offer very, very in a clear way, and in a way that it becomes irresistible. So we have again problem, promise, process, proof, and price psychology. So what happens when you are buying something? You want to make sure that the money that you give, it is way less than the value that you receive, yes? So you're not going to spend more money to get something that is tiny or bad or broken, right? So this doesn't work. You need to showcase to your prospect that what they're giving you is way less than what they're going to receive. And this is, from a standpoint of an entrepreneur, you may think, yeah, but how am I going to get profit when I am going to give more than what I'm going to get? And here's the interesting part. Price is a different thing than value. These are two different things. Remember what we said, the hot offer is a high value offer. You always need to give as much value as possible. And from an energetic standpoint, this is always going to serve your business, because the more value that you give, people are having better results and they appreciate working with you more. And it feels good to be someone that gives a lot, to be service oriented, because once you serve, then you are able to sell. So price is different than value. And how can you increase the value? How can you increase the value? You can increase the value with giving gifts, bonuses, and special one-time, limited time offers. So by adding those things in your offer, you can increase the value and make it way more attractive for the person. And make sure that these gifts and bonuses, remember what we said, what is the first part of the formula? It's problem. So make sure that the gifts solve the problem. It can be a how-to guide, a specific checklist, your own template. Make sure that they solve the problem, and they solve maybe more than one problems of your people, because your people come to you because you solve a very specific pain point. But is it always just only one pain point? Let's say as an infopreneur and coach, one pain point is, how do I get more clients? So you seek support and someone is going to help you get more clients, but then it's like, okay, but what is the content strategy? I don't know what content to create. So you have another problem. And then it's like, okay, but now that I have more clients, how do I manage my time? So there are more than one problems. And once you're able to add to your offer some specials that they solve more problems for your clients, this increases the value. So your prospect feels price psychology that, oh, actually, this is a very good deal. This is a very good deal for me, but at the same time is a deal of high value. That's why I suggest that you should be having a high ticket offer in your ecosystem, because psychologically, when people pay more, they feel that they're getting way more value. So this ties to that, and with your promise of, actually, my offer is going to solve your problem, but I'm going to give you things that I'm going to solve more of your problems, you position yourself strongly. So you take those principles of the 5 P's: problem, promise, proof, process, and price psychology, and apply them in your business, and you will see how people will be more inclined to buy from you, and they will do it way faster than they did it before.